Hey, I'm Sergio. Um, this is my second time taking the CPSY course. Um, I'm doing my internship for 10 credits. Um, so I'm gonna touch on a few of the things I learned last term. I learned how to do the med distribution. Um, I was distributing meds to about 8 to 10 youth weekly, um, and I have been doing that, and that's been going great. Last term, I learned a lot of professionalism that I could that I have been applying to this term. So I want to start off with my goals. Um, the first one was working to provide structure while ensuring program needs and responsibilities are met. So that means that we gotta maintain structure throughout the shift. We have certain times for certain things. For example, dinner's at 5:30. Some of these guys have structure anxiety, where if things aren't at the time that they're supposed to be, they can escalate. They can come above baseline. Um, and luckily, this group of youth is flexible enough to not be able to have it, or they don't have escalations about this, but it has happened before, and I've witnessed it. Um, so just making sure that I stay on top of that, just because that kind of became like a, how do I say this? It was back and forth, you know. Sometimes we were a few minutes late, sometimes we were on time, so we just want to make sure we have a set time all the time. And make sure that responsibilities are met. What I have been doing for this term and for my job is filling or printing out a sheet that has everything we need to get done. As we finish documentation, we check those off. We For this coronavirus, we have to go around cleaning the whole building before we leave, which is another thing I've taken upon myself to be able to dictate, like, hey, I'll go do this and you go do that. Um, let's work together. You get the notes done, I'll go clean, or I'll go clean and or I'll do the notes, you go clean, vice versa. Um, Another one is taking directions and collaborating, or directing and collaborating with other staff. So recently, we had staff from another program come into our program because of COVID-19 and because of their shortage of staff. So they came to our program. We linked the kids, so now we have 16 kids in the house, or in the not in the house, in the units in the program. um, and we brought their staff with us. So what I'm doing is I'm training these staff how our program works, because they had their own system at their program. But my program manager actually pulled me aside and she said, for your internship, one thing you can work on is train these people, show them how PRD runs the shifts, keep them on time, like keep them on track, and then remind the youth of our expectations, because I mean they were kind of the same expectations, but a few things were like different here and there. So the progress I made so far is I feel so much more prepared to be able to tackle this term, to be able to hopefully become a supervisor by the end of it. Um, and then new skills that I've learned during the internship so far is learning how to dictate, not dictate in a bad way, but like dictating as in like being a leader. I've I've been a great leader. I've been able to show the supervisors from the other program how this program works. I've been able to, you know, check in with my staff, ask them, hey, how are you doing? If I see them like a little bit off, hey, go take a break or something. Just noticing these little things, not only about the youth and supervising them, but noticing things about my staff to make sure they're okay, so that they can do their job well as well. And then how are you applying what you learned previously in your internship? Like I said, my professionalism. I think my professionalism rose like up here. I've been working a lot on that, and my end goal, like I said, is to hopefully become a supervisor, and maybe either by the end or sometime in the middle. And then finally, my short term goals or objectives for the organization. Um, of the organization. So the short term objectives of the organization are to be able to provide stabilization for the youth. That's in program. That's what we provide. That's what we have that structure. And long term program is, or long term objectives is to be able to help out these youth transition back into their families, back into society, back into um, living a good life and learning skills here in this program so that they can apply later in life. And that way hopefully they stay out of trouble. That way they're able to recognize when they're gonna, I don't know, when they get mad. Like a lot of us don't know how to realize we're gonna get mad. We just react, and a lot of these kids are learning that. And that's something I learned about myself. Like I notice myself when I'm gonna, or I catch myself when I'm gonna get upset. And it's like a give and take. You teach these kids how to do something, and you take that upon yourself to learn it yourself too. So, but the overall long term objective is to help out these kids transition back into society and back with their families. But so far, I've learning how to do supervisor stuff. I want to take on that role. We don't have a supervisor on our shift, so I want to do that. I want to be that person, and I'm gonna take on that leadership role this term. Thank you.